As rookie minicamp is upon us, it's time to do one last summation of what we've experienced since the end of last season. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. So, taking a little break in our get to know your draft picks, little conglomerate of shows. I will be getting the Locked On Wolverines host for next week. What I did want to do today was, there have been some things that have happened over the last week that I haven't really discussed because I wanted to fulfill on the promise of, doing the deep dive into a handful at least of the draft picks that the Cardinals made in the draft a couple weeks ago. Gabe Davis is a free agent. Is it something that the Cardinals should look into? I'll discuss. Bidwill blunder. This happened earlier in the week, but I needed to discuss it. I needed to do 6 minutes on it just to kind of close the door on what the the overarching cloud of this organization seems to be at times. And it wasn't the Hall of Fame this time, the Arizona Hall of Fame this time. It was something different, which irked me even more. But I'm going to do a short segment on it but it needed to be discussed. First, I've kind of been looking around, reading, watching national media coverages surrounding, teams after the draft. This is the start of list season, and then it pauses, and then it really ramps up in July when there's nothing really to talk about. Teams that could make a push, teams that could surprise people. And I've talked about this over the years where, that's more where the Cardinals were as opposed to, this is the team that can make a push. We haven't really seen that, period. Since, 2015? So, at least in the preseason, whatever we saw in 2021, of course, that kind of changed the narrative on that, at least for the majority of the season. But it kind of made me just start to think, and I thought about, okay, so the end of 2022, how did we feel here? What was going on? It's Kyler Murray was hurt. So you can't really do a whole lot with that. What about last season? What about the first full season? And what has stayed consistent, and some may see this as a small thing, but I see this as not everything in an absolute sense, but I see this as a massive shift from what we did experience was week 1 against Washington 2 years ago when I think it was 19-17, when they lost an ugly game when Josh Dobbs wasn't a member of this team for more than 2 weeks. They competed. It's this team's different. No talent on defense, no real talent on offense, aside from the pillars. It's this is completely different than a team that actually had talent the year before and the year before that. And that was the starting point. That was when the gun went off in the race. You would be lucky to feel that incrementally throughout the last regime. So it's okay, so then fast forward to now. Last year had its ups and downs. Still, roster wasn't completely finished. Wasn't deep in many spots. They end the season on a sour note yet again. And then since then, all they've done is make a brand new defense. Brand new. You've got your guys over the top, safeties haven't been touched. Have your younger guys in the cornerback room. And you've got Mac Wilson in the middle. Got Darius Robinson and Bijay Ojulari, who are still both, just TBD. You hope for 70% or 80% of the upside that they could provide, or that they're, expected to provide throughout this process. And then through free agency in the draft, you add a front seven that was unrecognizable in an Arizona Cardinals uniform last year. You add potentially the best interior defensive lineman and the best corner in the draft. You quadruple down on defense in the draft. And then you're the offense, probably could use him. Well, if you look at the offense, like in a vacuum, a lot of talent on that offense. So as you know, with 4 rookies signed their rookie deal yesterday: Jordan Birch, Denzel Burke, Hayden Connor, and then Keaton Crawford. And rookie minicamp is rolling on. It's like it's time now. Like the culmination of what was expected of Monti Ossenfort in the plan that was laid out by him, taking over for Steve Keim, is now showtime. And while it was fun last year, and while I was like, oh man, the only real like quote unquote future pacing things that I talked about last year was like, it was more elevated. Like if Garrett Williams can elevate to that next level, he's going to be fringe all pro. If Budda Baker can replicate, if Trey McBride can replicate, if Marvin Harrison Jr., if that was the baseline for what Marvin Harrison Jr. could do, if this offensive line could hold up for a handful more weeks, like it was more elevated as opposed to, oh, if this unknown rookie can play well, maybe he'll make the roster next year. Like that's what it was in 2023. It's different now. And then you compound that with what they did this offseason in the draft. It's like that offense's job is not going to be to cover up the deficiencies of the defense at times, and they're just going to be able to rip. Will it work? We don't know. It should. I still have full confidence that Kyler Murray can do what Jalen Hurts did with a stacked roster. Quarterback doesn't have to be your best player. Your quarterback just can't be the reason why you lose games more than you win. And I know that's a little convoluted because the quarterback position is the most, I mean, aside from what? Goalie and hockey. I don't know. You got your hockey fanatics who would argue that with me. But the level up is real. Monti Ossenfort did his part. He, Jonathan Gannon, Nick Roush, and Drew Petzing now collectively 1-22 with their starters on game day. This is the way to put it. There are no bona fide weaknesses on this roster anymore. Right? There are no bona fide weaknesses on this roster. Maybe if you had to pick like grading on a curve, the weakest position group would be backers, but because we don't know, we just don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know who they're going to trust. If they bring in the 2 vets or if the rook's going to get the green dot week 1, we don't know. We don't know if Cody Simon's just going to roll in and be like, watch me. I was defensive MVP of the national championship game for a reason. But whether you love the Cardinals, whether you say you love the Cardinals but continuously just say negative things about them, whether you say I'm sugarcoating all of this, even though that would just show that you haven't watched the show for very long, which is fine. I appreciate you watching now. The massive 0-1 jump roster-wise is complete. It's complete. Now, what are they going to be able to do with it? If you're going to say, grading on a curve, a position group that would be on the bottom end of strength, if you want to say this could be wide receiver, I don't. But for all of this is going to be fun. We'll discuss it next. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day, regarding Gabe Davis and if there's a spot for him on this roster. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. So here's the thing. As a small business owner, your work day doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. And that's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. Here's how it works. You post your job, okay? It's a new feature where you write your job description and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. You know the drill. We're here. I mean, we've got the schedule release next week, which I'm pumped for. Woo! Come on. This is like the NFL has done this masterfully. They've done it masterfully. It's just draft, free agency, then draft, then camp, then schedule release. And then there's, they've just moved everything up to where there's football constantly things to talk about aside from a couple weeks dead zone in July. But I mean, not nearly as much as it once was. Gabe Davis was released by the Jacksonville Jaguars, signed a 3-year, $32 million deal. Last season was cut after 1 year. The reason why, up until this segment, I've said that I think Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch are enough. Zay Jones, I think it's enough. They just need to utilize him better. And I think the reason why it's hard for some people to stomach is like, it's a different conversation when your tight end's your best receiver. Your tight end's your best pass catcher. It's like, look at the Chiefs and stop it. I'm not comparing Kyler Murray to Patrick Mahomes. I'm not comparing the Chiefs to the Cardinals in any sense of the word except for roster construction in this specific regard. Travis Kelce was the best receiver they had. And then they drafted Tyreek Hill. And then Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were 1 and 1A. They were 1 and 1A. And all they did surrounding them was just sign a bunch of burners. Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, Sammy Watkins, things like that. And the Cardinals obviously didn't see any sort of merit in drafting a wide receiver, which I agree with. Greg Dortch isn't your traditional quote-unquote burner, but the dude is really fast. The clip came out of him when he was practicing. I'm just like, dude, just give this guy a shot, man. Just give him more reps. Give him more reps. Michael Wilson is not a fast receiver. Neither is DeAndre Hopkins. And he made a career for himself for a long time. So you don't have to have the speed to be effective. The scheme needs to be there. It's more on Drew Petzing than it is on Kyler Murray for sure. But they need to unlock that. Now, with that said, there was an interesting, I can't remember who commented, said they're one injury away from not having any receivers. And I get that. I know Xavier Weaver's there in the background. He bounced back and forth from the practice squad to the active roster last year out of Colorado. He was Shedeur Sanders, I think, number 2 or number 3 option his last year in college. And he's shown, I kind of see him like a Xavier Thomas. So it's something that if Gabe Davis is available, he is. And if the Cardinals want to bring him in and give him 1 year, $3 million or $4 million, I say do it. You got a guy that's big and catch a ball outside and, whatever. And here's the little structure. This is from Spot Track. Mike Giannetti does a great job over at Spot Track. Gabe Davis is owed $11 million in 2025. It's guaranteed as part of his contract. So Jacksonville will pay whatever the team that he signs with doesn't. So if they sign him for 1 year, $1, $10,999,999 Jacksonville has to pay. Just obviously, that's just an exercise. So if the Cardinals want to give him 1 year, $3 million, I say let it rip. He's young enough. He's splash played enough in Buffalo. I think Jacksonville's just a Travis Shammacher of an organization, and it was a terrible. They signed like 3 different wide receiver 2s and gave them, pretty good money. So the Gabe Davis thing is fascinating. I just don't think there is one thing that I will vehemently go against. And we're back. So the reason why Gabe Davis is the right avatar of a player to sign is because he's not going to come in and be like, I want 100 targets. I demand 100 targets. If you sign a guy like Keenan Allen needs to eat because he deserves it. Keenan Allen is still one of the better wide receivers in football, regardless of his age. When he's healthy, he's one of the better route runners in the NFL. He catches everything. He's very, very lanky. Okay, he's great in the red zone. He's 6'3", I think. 6'2", 6'1". He's in the 6s. But that's something where that's a decision. And he's going to need $7 or $8 million because he deserves it. That's not something the Cardinals need. Even though, say he wants to come in and play for $3 million, cool. But that's not the world in which we live. He can make more money with the Chargers, go home, whatever. Gabe Davis has something to prove, and he is not a one-trick pony, but he's exactly what the Cardinals need if they want to start verticalizing this offense. to couple with Marvin Harrison Jr., and it'd be a lot cheaper than it would have been last offseason because he got so much money from Jacksonville. It was the Christian Kirk effect. Same thing. They overpay wide receivers. I just don't like. I struggle with this, and I tell you on this show that I struggle with things. My looks I can't fix, so I'm sorry for that. You can you can just listen to the audio if this is offending you. I struggle because we're close enough. You and I are close enough to see the pops that Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch have when given opportunity and space. Think of it this way. In some places, three-point shooters in the NBA flourish. In some places, they don't. Same player, two different locations, one flourishes, one doesn't. What is the main reason as to why that would happen? The quality of looks that they get. So, for example, let's take Malik Beasley, for example. Malik Beasley had the most threes in the NBA until the last game of the year where Anthony Edwards had to make 7, and he did. Malik Beasley played with the Lakers. He played elsewhere. He played a bunch of other places. He never stood out shooting-wise like this because of the opportunities that he was getting in the offenses that he was in. Ball-dominant guys with the Lakers, with Milwaukee. It was like, 3 seconds on the shot. Oh, Malik's kind of open. Throw him the ball, and he'll jack it because he's a three-point shooter. He was getting quality looks this year. When you get quality looks in rhythm as a part of an offense, it changes everything. So when you look at Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, if you're able to massage that offense and wrinkle that offense to the sense that you can get them more involved and have them a little bit more of a spotlight to get things in rhythm, instead of just a dump down to Michael Wilson on a broken play or a Greg Dortch slip screen in week 17 when the season's over, there is a gap there that can be bridged. And that's the thing I struggle with. That's the thing I struggle with. And I'm not so close to it to where it's like, oh, they're going to be good. There are guys. Come on, guys. They'll do it. If they can't do it, nobody can. Stop. I've never been that person. The bottom line is, if the Cardinals do want to bring in a wide receiver, they'd be better off at being Gabe Davis than like an Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. Somebody that could be a wide receiver 3, and if he pops, has the wide receiver 2, aura about him, maybe catch a couple of big touchdown passes throughout the year. It's a sticky spot because I think they're good enough, but any position group is one injury away, So that's just kind of where I struggle. And I wanted to share that with you. One thing that I 100% do not struggle surrounding is my thought process when Michael Bidwill gets awards. Let's discuss it next. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Amazon Fire TV Stick. Do you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into your X Game Pass Ultimate with ePlay included, and you're ready to go. Dive into hundreds of premium titles, including EA Sports College 25 or Call of Duty, and as easily as you stream your favorite shows. Everything's all in one place with your Fire TV Stick 4K. Netflix, YouTube, and beyond. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On and get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd generation, and Fire TV Cube 3rd generation. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, man. You leave a review where reviews are left, if you so desire. I'm just happy that you're here. I'll never hammer that home. Michael Bidwill has received the 2025, quote, In the Arena Award from the McCain Institute. And this award is given annually to, quote, salute extraordinary character-driven leaders who conspicuously and bravely fight to defend human rights, foster security, and advance freedom through action. End quote. What? Oh, Character-driven leaders who conspicuously and bravely fight to defend human rights, foster security, and advance freedom through action. Excuse me? Wasn't this the guy that has multiple allegations of misconduct in the workplace? Gender, sexual orientation. What are we doing here, guys? Like, this is what I really think it is. And it's so irrational to think that this is what it is, but we're Looney Tune land, so we got to think. Do you think he's jealous of Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon? Like, do you think he's not getting enough credit he thinks he deserves? Owners of organizations never get credit. They're the rich ones. They sign the paychecks. Now, sure, you've got your Hunt family, and you've got some who are, perennial winners. Good employers hire the right people, let them do their job, and they salt off into the night. That's not even a saying. They salt off into the night. Whatever that means. He's always been so happy being in his ivory tower, not taking responsibility for anything. But now things are going well, and now he's got to be in the forefront of everything. I don't get it. While he gets credit from me, without a doubt, 100%, since removing the last regime and everything he's done up until this point since then, these constant awards that he doesn't deserve. It's lunacy. The Cardinals are salmon fighting upstream in the stream of Bidwill. It happened earlier in the week. I wanted to stay the course, but I wanted to take a few minutes here and just be like, this is, right? Like, am I wrong at this? Like, multiple allegations, a lawsuit of misconduct, whether it be the secret text messages through the burners that nobody knew was going to be happening because, that's never been found out. The whole thing, this is on top of it. Part of the email, which was, I get from the media relations from the Cardinals, said about them hosting the Rams playoff game, which was great. Okay, in a vacuum, fantastic. The terrible wire fires in Palisades and surrounding areas in LA, they hosted a playoff game here with their division rival. That's great. If you would have left it there, that would have been awesome. He was then allegedly throwing a bee fit when Stan Kroenke wouldn't come over and thank him face-to-face. Now, was it not great that Kroenke didn't do that? Sure. And also, be a man, and charity is not about being thanked for it. Charity is about doing a good thing. So you can't have it both ways. It's been a good week. It's been a fun week. Thank you to all the Locked On College Football hosts. Thank you to Justin Mello from the Draft Network yesterday, who's an encyclopedia. That was awesome. Hope everybody got a great look at who could be some dudes they're going to be ripping on game day this season. And I will get Locked On Wolverines host for you next week. It's just been a scheduling thing. But we will get them, and it's going to be great. So that'll wrap up the week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching again. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button. Turn notifications on. Leave a like on the video. Really appreciate it. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you Monday.